Andrew Holness defends his massive salary increase while Russians are sitting on eggshells. This is Undiluted News. Mikey Bones reporting. The Russian mercenary leader who led a mutiny that nearly reached Moscow has said his forces had not intended to overthrow a Russian government but had demonstrated a weakness in Russian security. In the first public remarks released since Saturday, Yevgeny Prigozhin said his fighters called off their campaign to avert bloodshed. He made no reference to his own present location 2 days after he said he was leaving for Belarus under an agreement brokered by that country's president to end his mutiny. Prigozhin shocked the world by leading the armed mutiny only to abruptly call it off as his fighters approached the capital after racing nearly 1,000 kilometers. Russia's three main news agencies reported yesterday that a criminal case against Prigozhin had not been closed despite an offer of immunity that was publicized as part of the deal that persuaded him to stand down. And as far as we see, Prigozhin is a dead man walking, mark my word. Over in Jamaica, Prime Minister Andrew Holness is defending the hefty salary raises given to government ministers and members of parliament once again. The contentious hike, which went into effect last month, sparked widespread outrage and calls for a rollback. However, during a Jamaica Labour Party gathering in southeast Clarendon on Sunday night, the JLP leader claimed once more that the increased salary will attract better people to the political system. He went on to say that ministers and parliamentarians are being unfairly chastised over the pay increase, and rightfully so. How can you give police and teachers $1,000 raise and give parliamentarians several millions? They need to be voted out. Stuart Jacobs, president of the National Parent Teachers Association of Jamaica, says in light of the recent primary exit profile result, boys and girls should be separated when preparing for examinations to address the different learning styles. The paper results released last week showed female students outperforming their male counterparts in mathematics and language arts. Boys perform similarly to girls in social studies and science. Mr. Jacobs noted that the difference in performance between boys and girls, which exists at the primary level, also continues into high school. He added that this is further confirmation that each gender learns differently and by extension should be taught differently. The Junction Police Department in St. Elizabeth is looking for two males who robbed an elderly couple on Sunday morning. According to reports, the couple aged 76 and 70 years old was awakened at about 1:40 a.m. by weird sounds inside their house and observed men standing by their bed. And it was discovered that the men gained entrance to the house by cutting and removing a padlock from the grill. According to reports, the men demanded money and jewelry. When their demands were not satisfied, the men allegedly tied up the couple and searched the house. They stole a gold chain, a necklace, 4 gold bracelets, and 2 cell phones. The burglars also made off with 49,000 Jamaican and $6 in cash. The couple was also robbed of a licensed firearm, but they were able to free themselves and raise an alarm. A man and a female passenger have been charged with breaches of the Firearms Act following the seizure of a firearm and ammunition in Studio One Boulevard in Kingston on Sunday. Charged with unauthorized possession of a prohibited weapon and unauthorized possession of ammunition are 31-year-old Deshaun McBean, a contractor of Blunt Street in Kingston and Barbican, Kingston 6 address, and 28-year-old Chantel Thomas, a cashier of Tower Street in Kingston. Reports from the Denham Town Police are that sometime after 11 p.m., McBean was driving a gray Mercedes-Benz with Thomas as his passenger. McBean was signaled to stop by a team of officers who were conducting a vehicular checkpoint operation. McBean disobeyed and sped off. The police team pursued the vehicle and intercepted it. The occupants and the vehicle were then searched and a Taurus 9mm pistol with a magazine containing 12 9mm cartridge was found beneath the driver's seat. McBean and Thomas were subsequently arrested and charged. And this definitely sounds like someone who could really afford to own a licensed firearm. But the government has made it so hard for people to get a gun license. So to protect themselves from criminals, they have to walk with illegal guns, and now they're getting arrested and gone to jail. Police are probing a reported case of abduction in Cheesefield district in Linstead in St. Catherine, said to have occurred between Sunday night and Monday morning. And information is that a taxi driver was reported taken from his home by 3 men, and he has not been seen since. Reports are that between 8 p.m. and 3 a.m. the cabbie was sleeping with a woman said to be his girlfriend when 3 masked men, all armed with knives, entered the house through the back door. Police said the men held up and robbed the couple of their properties. They then used a knife to inflict wounds on the taxi driver before removing his clothes. The cabbie, the police said, was tied up and placed in the trunk of the white Toyota Probox. The men then drove away in the vehicle. The motorcar was later found abandoned on Gough Road in Glengough in St. Catherine, but the police said there was only seen blood was seen in the trunk, and police have since been searching for the three abductors and the victim, who is also still missing. The St. Elizabeth police are continuing their probe into Friday night's gunslaying of a man in an area known as Jungle in Black River in the parish. Residents identified the deceased as Kareem Jones alias Scooter of Jungle in Black River. Reports are that residents alerted the police after hearing a barrage of gunshots at about 11:55 p.m. on Friday. On their arrival, the police found Jones suffering from gunshot wounds. He was transported to a hospital where he was pronounced dead, and no motive for the killing has yet been established. The Kingston Western Police said that an ongoing gang conflict led to Sunday's attack in the Maxfield Avenue area, which left two men dead. Investigators said at about 9:35 in the morning, 20-year-old Jaheim Walker, otherwise called Jaja, of a Paradise Courts Kingston 12 address, and 20-year-old Tajay O'Neill Watson, also of Paradise Courts, were sitting inside premises at West Road when some men approached and opened gunfire, hitting them both. They were pronounced dead at hospital. Investigators alleged that Walker was an affiliate of the Top Sunlight Street gang and that he was targeted by members of the Bottom Sunlight Street gang. Onto sports. In football, in Gold Cup action, Martinique shocked El Salvador 2-1 last night, while Panama overran Costa Rica 2-1 as well. Today we will see Canada take on Guadeloupe, while Cuba will clash with Guatemala. But tomorrow is the day we're waiting for, when Jamaica will face Trinidad and Tobago. And this is a must-win for Jamaica, as the United States will have an easy game against St. Kitts, and they are sure to score as much goals as they can to lead with goal difference. So Jamaica is going to have to go in tomorrow's game, beat Trinidad convincingly, scoring as much goals as they can to stay on par with the US. Meanwhile, up-and-coming quarter-miler Zadrian Barnes and discus thrower Travis Michael were the Jamaican winners at Saturday's United States of America Track and Field Federation New York City Grand Prix held at the Eichens Stadium in Manhattan. Barnes was competing in an individual event overseas for the first time, won the men's 400 meters in 45.05 seconds, while Michael took the men's discus throw with 65.36. One of the highlights of the day was the world-leading national record 9.83 seconds, which was set by Great Britain sprinter Kingston-based Zarnell Hughes to win the men's 100 meters, beating Jamaica's Akeem Blake into second place. There were also second-place finishes for shot put Danielle Thomas-Dodd, while Brenna Williams in the 100 meters came second, and Kimberly Williams also came second in the women's high jump. And if you ever missed the news on this radio station, please go to YouTube, type in Jamaican Undiluted News, listen, like, share, and subscribe to keep it going. My name is Mikey Bones. Icon.